Today we're looking at this lens, the 40mm f2 from TT Artisan. It's a full frame autofocus lens and it's available in Sony E mount, Nikon Z mount and Panasonic L mount. So this lens was kindly sent to me for review by TT Artisan, and it's good to see another 40mm lens released. 40mm is a favourite focal length of mine. It's only just a little longer than a 35 and only just a little shorter than a 50, and yet that 40mm focal length has an identity all of its own. There are not many currently on sale, either vintage or modern versions, and I do think that anybody who hasn't used one is missing out, because this is a unique focal length. It's perfectly suited to general photography. This is a lens that you can just stick on the front of your camera and it will cover a huge range of photographic situations. It's a great general walk around everyday sort of lens. It's not particularly heavy, it's an all metal lens and it's very nicely made, but it's not a particularly heavy lens, so it's nice and easy to carry around all day. And as I say, I find this focal length just works for general photography. It just seems to work for street photography too. It just feels right. So when I was shooting on the street with it, I didn't feel I had to work too hard. I didn't feel too daunted by what I was doing, which can sometimes happen if you use a wider lens and you need to get rather closer. I found this was just a lovely lens to use for street portraits, and just about the right focal length as well. The minimum focus distance is 40 centimeters, which is a reasonably close distance. It's pretty close, but it would be nice if it would go just that little bit closer, maybe down to 30 centimeters or even closer, would be ideal. Generally, it's a very, very nicely made lens. It has a very high quality feel. It's all metal, as I think I've already mentioned, and I think the metal it's made of is an aluminium magnesium alloy, which is sometimes known as aircraft metal. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it's made of. It's an autofocus lens, but it can be focused manually. It's got a nice focus grip. You need to take the hood off to access it, but it's there, and it's a nice big focus ring for if you want to focus manually. I'm glad to see this lens has an aperture ring. I like the old school approach. I like physical controls. I like an aperture ring on the lens, and I'm glad to say that this lens has one. Image quality generally is really nice, and this lens makes lovely images. It's very sharp from wide open in the center. The corners show a little softness at f2, but the center is really sharp. Corners sharpen up by f5.6 if you stop down to f5.6, but personally I shot it pretty much permanently wide open, and it's entirely sharp enough to do that. I didn't make any shots where I thought, oh gosh, that's a bit soft or it's not terribly sharp. All the shots seemed entirely sharp enough to me. But stop the lens down if you want extra sharpness, stop the lens down, and by f5.6, like any lens, this one is very sharp indeed. It's an autofocus lens, and that makes street portraits much easier than with a manual lens. You don't need to think about focusing. Usually when I use vintage lenses on the street, I'll zone focus, or very often I'll zone focus, but no need for any such thing with this lens. Just point and the lens takes care of the focusing. It's very accurate. I only missed focus on 1 or 2 occasions. Generally the lens can pick out, it's pretty good at picking out the focus point that I want, and autofocusing is fast, snappy and accurate. Colour is neither particularly warm nor particularly cool from this one. I reckon it lies somewhere in the middle, Colours are strong and they have plenty of body and depth, but they're not oversaturated. This is not a lens that boosts colours, you know, to a very large degree. Colours are nice, colours are very present, colours are very strong, but I think it's fair to say these are more naturalistic colours rather than pumped up saturated ones. Contrast is very good. We've got very solid blacks and good bright whites, but contrast can drop in strong light, as with any lens. It does resist contrast dropping very well. That speaks well of the coatings, but you know, physics is physics. Try hard enough, point this lens at a strong enough light source and contrast will drop. Generally it's well controlled, but it can happen. So to stop that, just use the hood that's supplied with the lens. It stores on the lens when it's not in use, and it's nice and easy to pop on there when you want to use it and keep that stray light away from your front element. Background blur is really nice from this lens. It's very soft, it's very gentle, it's very well controlled, and it stays soft across a wide range of distances between camera, subject and background. So this lens definitely has the modern lens feature of being able to give soft blur across a very wide range of focusing situations. Generally, blur is very, very soft and very, very nicely controlled. This lens gives bubbles from point light sources, lots and lots of lovely bubbles, and because it's an f2 lens, a reasonably fast lens, it will give plenty of them. But sadly there's no swirl from this one. I do like a little bit of swirl in the background blur, but no swirl from this one. Now this is a reasonably fast lens at f2 maximum aperture, so there is a little vignetting, that is darkening of the corners when you shoot fully open. It's not noticeable all the time, and you do have to look for it on most occasions. It's most noticeable if you're shooting against a bright background, for example the sky, and in those situations you will see the corners are a little dark. If you stop the lens down, it gets progressively less and it's pretty much gone by f5.6, f8-ish. So it's nice and easy to get rid of, and there isn't a great deal of it, but physics is physics, so there is some. Overall then, this is a lovely little lens in a reasonably rare focal length, but a focal length that I enjoy using much more than a 50 or a 35, and a focal length that I find is perfectly suited to both general photography and street photography too. It's nicely made and it's small enough and light enough to carry around all day and not feel tired. A great little optic from TT Artisan. So many thanks to everybody for watching this episode. I do appreciate that. If you've enjoyed the episode, why not chuck us a sub? That would be very much appreciated. Many thanks to patrons also, without whom this show could not be made in the way that it is. So many thanks for that support. And if you think this channel isn't doing too bad a job of keeping the old gear alive and bringing you news of new gear, you might want to become a patron yourself over at www.patreon.com/Zenography, and you can do that for as little as $1 per month. As for me, that is it for now. So many thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who's given thanks, given a comment, left a subscription or engaged with the channel in any way. I really do appreciate it. And if you're not doing anything too awful, irksome or bothersome, next time please do check in and join me for a spot more Zenography. Cheerio all.